Let's get up with our conversation with our Indiana County Veterans Providers Group, and I need to press a couple buttons, and I should have both Diann and Kathy on the line. Good morning, ladies. I guess I got to turn it up.
Hi, Kathy.
There
Hi,
we
Diana.
go. There we go. They're both on with me here this morning. Diann Overman is the Veterans Outreach Coordinator for Indiana County, and on the line with us this morning, Kathy Sylvia from the PA State Ambassador for the Women Veteran Memorial that we talked about back in, what was it, Diann? December? Was that one? December was when we talked about it. Well, Kathy, it's good to have you back on with us this morning.
Thanks for your time on this, Todd, and I'm really appreciative of just the social distancing method of getting in touch with everybody. So the Women Veterans Memorial is actually the only memorial that stands for all women of all branches, all eras, past, present, and future. And I say past, even the ones that have passed away. I just am overwhelmed by a great job to try to find 71,000 women veterans in the state of Pennsylvania. Of course, some of them don't even know they have a memorial that stands for their efforts, and it's been built since 1997.
It's amazing the way the program works, and people can become a part of this whole movement too, can't they?
Yes, they can. They just need to go online, take a look at the exhibits and the stories that are there. It's www.womensmemorial.org, and women's is plural.
Mm-hmm. I have been to Arlington National Cemetery a number of times. The memorial is wonderful. And for folks to be able to celebrate the role of women in our military is a very, not only nice thing, but it's a very important thing, isn't it?
So it is. In the month of June, actually, we just passed the 12th of June, which was in 1948 was the passing of the Integration Act, and that was pretty instrumental in integrating women into their respective branches of the service. Before that, they were just contracted members. They weren't really bona fide members of that branch. So we just celebrated. I think there was Veterans Appreciation Day a couple years ago for women veterans. That same day, June 12th, is the date that we commemorated that. And also, I have myself plus 4 other members of my family. This is also the 70th anniversary of the Korean conflict. And I'm a history buff, can you tell? But, a lot of my family members actually were boots on the ground. My uncle served in Korea during the conflict. Ironically, he was field artillery. I went field artillery as well, and I served there 3 decades after his boots were on the ground, passing the same terrain. And then my brother served there, and I have 2 other cousins that served in Korea. So,
yeah. And boy, I tell you, we're talking about the Women's Memorial right now, but the Korean War Memorial is one of the real gems of that whole National Mall. It is an amazing thing. Just an amazing
I went
thing.
there, I took pictures, and I was, you can't go there without just stopping and taking it in emotionally. It just emotes all sorts of feelings I can't even, there's no words for it.
Yeah.
And, the horror, the civilians that we lost, having gone back to, my camp was actually about 12 miles from the border of the DMZ over there when I was there in 1985, 86. And the town that I lived in to work was actually a refugee town. Mm. So I'll tell you one story while I served there was a waitress. Her name was Miss Kim, and I served in the 2nd Infantry Division, same as my cousins and other relatives. But Miss Kim had a little situation. She said, she asked me if I could find her a pair of shoes, men's shoes. I said, well, what size of men's shoes? She says, I don't care. Just a pair of men's shoes. I said, well, what for? She had a perpetrator just kind of cruising outside her door, and she wanted to put these empty pair of men's shoes outside the door so the perpetrator wouldn't, come and intrude upon her. Uh-huh. So I got one of my soldiers. I was like, hey, any of you guys have a pair of shoes you want to donate? And so I gave her it looked like a really large pair of shoes. She was so thankful. Christmas time, she gave me a scarf. And, those people don't make a whole lot of money. It's like, I don't need to give anything for Christmas. But to this day, it's like my favorite scarf.
Oh, my. Oh, my. It's a great story. Great story. Diann, let's bring you in this conversation. The Pennsylvania angle and the Indiana County angle as well for the women's memorial it's a pretty strong connection, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And, Kathy is just one of the partners that comes, to the Veteran Providers Group and is part of our group. And, the experiences and the stories and the knowledge and the level of expertise that comes to the meeting is just we're so fortunate to have that here in our county. So, the Women's Memorial on a local level, we do the Legacy Project, where we are inviting Indiana County veterans and their families, if their veteran is no longer alive, to have their stories documented. And we're working with the ICTC along with the Historical Society, and we really want, to collect those and preserve those personal stories, just like Kathy shared today. Yeah. So on a local level, that's kind of what we're doing with the Legacy Project. So, if you want to be part of the Women's Memorial or the local or both, I have the applications too. If someone doesn't have access to a computer, they can call my office at 724-471-7726, and I can get them the application for both, and we can have those stories documented.
Absolutely.
So, can I ask a question of Diann?
Sure.
I'm intrigued by that because it's kind of wrapping with one of the Women Memorial projects as well. So the Legacy Project, is that affiliated with the Library of Congress?
Well, not as of yet. We were actually ready to do our first filming and the day before the event with a local World War II veteran. COVID hit, and so we had shut that down with ICTC. Yeah. But we will be sending those to be documented there also. So, yes, we will have that connection, but we just haven't got that rolling. We have a lot of applicants, and we're ready to go, and then COVID hit, as for many. So,
yeah, that's amazing. Hey, Kathy, you, I know, as an ambassador for the whole program, you hear, I bet you, some really, really touching stories, don't you, about women in the service?
Well, both. I hear them face-to-face, but also I hear them virtually. I also am, so what I'm doing, in this social distancing time is we're still virtually meeting across Pennsylvania and other states. The Veterans Breakfast Club, which is regionally based out of Pittsburgh area, but they reach and touch people all over from Maine to Utah. They have meetings. There's 1 p.m. today. You could go to vbcpgh.org. That's V Victor Bravo Charlie Papa Golf Hotel.org. And they used to meet face to face. It's a great group, storytelling, share your stories. There's also another group that's virtually meeting. There's tons of groups that are virtually meeting. You just have to, I guess the unfortunate thing is, where do I go to find all of these in one place? Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult. So what I've encouraged these social media groups to do is to log themselves and their event on the dmva.pa website. So a veteran that's in Indiana County or any county can actually register themselves as a member of the state, Pennsylvania. That's www.dmva.pa.gov. And after they get registered, they'll get a bi-weekly notification of here's all the events going on. And some of them are virtual job fairs. Some of them actually link you to other groups that are poised for veterans transitioning, veterans job fairs, veterans retooling or talent set. They are looking for people to do the census 2020. So there's a lot of opportunities. I know some people have lost their jobs and lost their income, but the veterans being hired is I guess it's a really high cry for, especially for CDL, drivers, truck drivers are a shortage. And, if I can drive a tank, I'm sure I can drive an 18-wheeler.
That's a good point.
Right. And, those veterans bring a host of skills to jobs, that give them a great advantage. And we also post all those types of activities that Kathy has referred to on our Indiana County Veteran Providers Group Facebook page. Mm-hmm. So those virtual job fairs, you'll see all those posted, and we actually are connected with the Breakfast Club too. So locally, please like our page, and you will get all that information.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting because we were talking yesterday with Mark Hilliard from the Chamber of Commerce about soft skills. And I think one of the great benefits of coming out of a military background is you have those skills, discipline, showing up on time for work, making sure that the job is done. Those are just inherently built into people in the military, aren't they?
And leadership, yes, sir. That's absolutely right, Todd. We don't really know how to capture that sometimes. I actually helped a Sergeant First Class retired soldier who I went to war with, and she came back and she got another skill set. She's got a job now, and I looked at her, some of the pro bono work I do. I looked at her resume and I said, hey, what about this? What about that? What about adding what you know how to do? Just being able to articulate that in a resume. They don't know how to translate those skills. So there's, in the Department of Labor, unemployment divisions, or like Diann's role would be, hey, let me take a look at your resume and kind of help them tweak it for them. I also help veterans with their claims. Sometimes they're a little hesitant to go to their county veteran service officer, or they want somebody to advocate for them. So I went to Lancaster County, advocated for a gal who was denied her claim, and we got her to 90%, and she's her claim's finished, and we celebrated at the end of that. So it's just I do this not for any kind of payment, but just for the pure satisfaction of getting a better life for a veteran.
Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, so we're running out of time here. And Sylvia, maybe you could tell us, how do people donate to the Women in Military Service for America Memorial?
Yes, so you just go online. It's the www.womensmemorial.org. You can take a look at the exhibits. They're not open personally right now, but you can look at them virtually, and you can see some really great, some of the legacy projects that I just finished reading or looking at was Carolyn Fix. She's a World War II gal, and it was just a funny story. We're doing our own living legacy as well. So, Diann, if you go on there and look for living legacy, as a matter of fact, I'm going to email you the credentials for. We're looking for an outstanding gal who served the nation and is a standout soldier, sailor, airman, and we want to recognize that women as well as take residence. So.
Very good.
And we will go ahead and post the brochure with all the information and the application on the Facebook page today.
Terrific stuff.
Sounds good.
Kathy, Sylvia.
And Indiana County rocks. They're like, out of 67 counties, as far as our response time to those veterans, they've got to be the best. Don't tell Franklin County I said that, but they're awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I just talked over the line that said Indiana County rocks from Kathy Sylvia. Ladies, thanks so much for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye now.
Bye-bye.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS. WCCS is 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Fox News is coming up in just a moment, and then we follow with Josh Woodison in our WCCS newsroom. We'll take a look at sports as well.